Hello, hello, hello. Chuck us in the back of your car like an old gym bat. I mean, like, I can toss you individually, but as like a whole, I don't think it's gonna work out, chat. There we go. There we go. Hello, 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 hello. What do you mean? What do you mean? Why would that not work? It did get stolen. Anya, congratulations on being here first, but Addie, congratulations on stealing it successfully. Keeper, thank you for getting second. And Yama, thank you for getting third. Hello, hello. Aiko called me Gramps, chat. I'm ending stream. Alright, bye. Damn it. I give up. Hello to everybody. I said hello to everybody, but nobody could hear me. Hello, Nia, by the way. And hello, Vanya. And hello, Aura, if you're here. And hello, Pinky, if you're here. We at least have the mods. Hi, Pinky. Hi, Silas. Hi, Astral. Hello, Keeper. Hi, Gibbets. Hello, hello, Spell. Hello, hello, Addie. Hello, hello, Aiko. Hello, Nia. Hello. So many hellos. Hello, everybody. Hi. Hello. 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 Eventually, I'm going to have to realize that there's more people showing up constantly, and I can't say hi to every single person. So, hello, chat. Hello, mods. And hello, anybody who isn't either of those two things. Thank you all so very, 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 very much for being here. Mwah. 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 So, today, at the request of somebody very near and dear to my heart, we are playing the damn Persona. Hi, Astral Rose 30. How you doing? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? We're just gonna go straight into it. So, hello, Maple. Because we only have so much time. Because I can't do anything. Why is it so big? Now let's see if this game is going to start off nicely. Oh, by the way, is the game loud enough? Is the game too loud? Is the game too quiet? What's the vibes? That good? Hi, Psycho. How you doing? Yeah, it's not the... What? How would I have the remake? How would I have the remake? Who do you think I am? Oh, that's fair, Psycho. That happens. Alright. P4G Persona 4 Golden. Really? Who is it? The Vox Populi feature allows you to see what decisions other players have made at various points in the game. The rescue request function allows other players to help you when you're in a pinch, and you to help others in turn. The features are not available in the very beginning of the game. Oh, have fun packing your suitcase. We're gonna play normal. Okay. Yes. Yes. Well, relax and have fun with the game. What do you mean I don't know? What do you mean I don't know? Sorry. Chat. Everybody pay attention. We're playing games now. It's me. I'm the long-nosed guy. I'm the long-nosed guy, chat. It's me. It's me. A fuck-ass goblin. Look at him. It's me, chat. Fuck-ass goblin. Hi, Mabel.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
Oh, Robin, pay attention. Of course, Astral. Why does he look so jank-ass here? What?
We have a guest with an intriguing destiny.
No, but okay, no, but the animation was incredible. Like, that was gorgeous. The drawing here is okay. And then the fucking 3D model is just so jank. Oh, Maple, sorry, I have to move my redeems to the side so I can actually see them. Oh, god damn it. Alright, I guess we're doing this, and I'm such a good dog, apparently. And ooh. Alright.
My name is Igor.
Alright, fuck ass Calvin.
I am delighted to make your acquaintance.
Yeah, might as well, Spell. It works.
This place exists between dream and reality, mind and matter. It is a room that only those who are bound
Ursula,
by
how you doing?
contract may enter. It may be that such a fate awaits you in the near future.
So you see, the normal one ain't golden, but this one, it be.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
Alright, my name is Swagman395. Oh, I'm sorry, it's like, I can name myself! Last name, Swag. Man. 395. The best last name. Oh, sorry, chat. I fucked up. Give me a second. I gotta wake up. Okay, egg. There we go. Man. 395. I got this, chat. Exclamation point, explanation point. Yes. Swagman395. Yeah, Vons? What's up, Vons? Oh. My first name is Swagman395. Exclamation point, explanation point. Do you have any problem with that? I'm ready. Proceed. Yes. I see. I don't understand.
Now, let's take a look into your future, shall we?
I'm ready.
Do you believe in fortune telling?
Do you believe in fortune telling?
Each reading is done with the same cards, yet the result is always different.
All right, tell me what you got.
Life itself follows the same principles, doesn't it?
All right. Oh no, not the tower. God damn the tower.
The tower in the upright position represents the immediate future. It seems a terrible catastrophe is imminent.
Really?
The card indicating the future beyond that is...
Ooh, the moon. What do we got from the moon?
the moon in the upright position. This card represents hesitation and mystery. Very interesting indeed.
That sounds like bullshit.
It seems you will encounter a misfortune at your destination, and a great mystery will be imposed upon you.
God, I love the voice actors.
In the coming days, you will enter into a contract of some sort. After which,
Stretch, thank you.
Return here.
And hydrate.
The coming year is a turning point in your destiny.
All right,
The
chat.
mystery goes unsolved.
Well, I suppose we're here now.
Forever lost.
What is with you, Maple? Why do you like both of these voices so much?
My duty.
Leaving
is
in a
to
week.
provide
Why are you
assistance to
leaving?
our guests to
Okay.
ensure that does not happen.
Good, good.
I have neglected to introduce my assistant to you.
Yes, is she okay? She's been staring off into space for quite some while, and I'm honestly very, very concerned. Because she's only blinking occasionally, but she has yet to move. Is she alright?
Is Margaret. She is a resident of this place, like myself.
My name is Margaret.
There is not
I'm
a
here
single
to
sound between her
accompany you
eyes.
through
Hello,
your journey.
Wicked. Welcome back.
We shall attend to the details another time.
Okay.
Until then, farewell.
Thank you. Thank you, darling. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Margaret Massa. Chat. Bring me snacks. Do, 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 do.
I'm tired of diets. Enough with going to the
But I
gym.
want snacks.
think
I
there's
don't-
something even I can handle.
Is this just anime? Are we playing an anime?
Taste of calorie magic. And we're back. Now on to some juicy news. The Mayumi Yamano.
Wait, this is kind of sick, actually.
Yeah, first he bags a singer, then he has an affair with a TV announcer on the side. Do chicks really dig politicians?
Oh, Astro, you're so good. Look how good you are.
Financial and political clout is what matters.
Hey, what is that supposed to mean?
Well, what do you think?
This is actually very sick, so I kind of dig this. I dig this a lot.
Well, I'm sure that you all know already, but at the end of this month, he will be transferring to another school.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe this.
Oh no, the most boring man in the school is leaving. We'll never find another brown-haired white man of that height again. Oh wait, he's prettier here. They made him more attractive here. Why was he ugly in the last picture?
We will arrive at the Yasogami terminal in a few minutes. Passengers headed for
Actually, he does look like he has no expressions. But I still like his vibe. It's very cool.
The scandal involves the Enka star Misuzu Hiragi preparing to tour overseas.
Oh no,
Taro
scandal.
Watanabe, a council secretary
So what is wrong with that
just
man's
last
face?
year, is now under suspicion of having an affair. What's more, his rumored mistress is the well-known TV announcer. Miss
We need more games that are just anime, where I get to play characters in the anime. Mm-hmm. That man's poor nose. If he ever falls, like, even slightly, he's going to snap his nose in half.
Yaso Inaba. Yaso Inaba.
Hello, Desi. How you doing? Desi, today is Friday. I have singing lessons. I had completely forgotten about that. If you're still going when I get back, I will definitely come by.
Over here.
But I'd forgotten today I have my singing lessons.
Well, you're more handsome in person than in your photo.
Mm.
Welcome to Inaba. I'm Ryotaro Dojima.
But I
I'll be
see.
looking after you. Let's see, I'm your mother's younger brother, and that about sums it up.
How you doing? Okay, yes, then I should be able to come back afterwards. Oh shit, they are talking to me. Chat, 1 second. You're currently covering my text options, and I cannot see. And that's going to make this game very, very difficult for me. So, yeah, ein Moment bitte. Where is this little stupid thing? There it is. We're going to slide you up to the top. Why are you on the bottom of the screen now? Stop that. There. Und there. And now I can see. This is perfect. I'm sorry, did you say Uncle Cop Daddy? Chat, behave yourselves. It's nice to... It's been a long time.
I'll say, you've really grown. I still remember when you were in diapers.
Mm-hmm.
This here's my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Nanako. Introduce yourself to your cousin.
She doesn't like us, chat.
What are you so shy for?
She hates grey-haired people.
Ow! Well then.
Okay, she's a little cute.
My car's over there.
That was loud.
Hey,
Unfriendly looking girl immediately says hello to me.
you dropped this.
Oh. Oh, hello. Thank you.
Whatever. All I did was pick it up.
That's a note you made for yourself with Dojima's address.
What's wrong?
You got in the car and headed for Dojima's house. An Abe Central Shopping District gas station.
Hi. Welcome to
Run him
the-
over. Oh, sorry.
Can you go to the bathroom by yourself?
No, me personally, I cannot. I need somebody to go. Oh, her. Oh, her. Never mind. Yeah, totally.
It's in the back, to your left. You know which way's left?
I can't.
The side you don't hold your chopsticks in.
I know. Jeez.
Are you taking a trip?
No, we just went to pick him up. He just moved here from the big city.
Why are you telling this random person your life
City,
story?
huh?
I guess they asked.
Fill up my car while you're at it. Regular's fine.
Right away, sir.
Good time as any for a smoke.
God, this was made in the 90s, wasn't it?
Are you in high school? Does it surprise a city boy to see how little there is out here? There's so little to do, I'm sure you'll get bored fast. You'll either be hanging out with your friends or doing part-time jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, we're actually looking
Early
for part-time
2000s?
help
Fair
right
enough.
now.
Do you want a
Give us
job?
call, why don't you? We don't mind if you're a student.
Well, so it was probably made in the 90s and then released in 2000s. Unless they only took 2 years to make it, in which case it'd be being made 2000.
Oh, I should get back to work.
$10 months?
Are you okay?
How?
Did you get car sick? You don't look too good.
Shake my hand, yes. Could it be exhaustion from the long trip? Now that she mentions it, you feel a little dizzy.
What's wrong? You okay?
I don't know who Hayam Daisy is. Just fell lightheaded.
That's understandable. It must have been a long trip for you. Why not take a little walk? Get some fresh air. Just let me know when you're ready to go.
All right. I'll wait here. Why don't you take a walk and get some fresh air? The shopping district is near the house, so you should get to know where all the stores are. Okay. Butterfly. Butterfly. No data. Yes. Have we met before? I met you just now. Huh. Okay. Bookstore. A fierce-looking man is single-mindedly pounding on something in the back of the store. You decide not to enter. You have something to do in the shopping district's a bit run down. Mm-hmm. Okay. Variety of products, friendly-looking old lady. Oh, I like this shop. It's very nice. It's inconvenient and convenient at the same time. There's a delicate balance. This is what I expect country life to be like. All right, amazing. Those NPCs, I know what you are. How you feeling? Ready to get back in the car? I'm ready. There's an old guy, chat. He'll be dead soon. You arrive at Dojima's residence. Mm-hmm. What are you teeing about?
All right.
That sushi actually looks pretty solid, though. I get that tea all the time. I love that tea. That tea's so good.
So, your mom and dad are busy as always. They're working overseas, was it?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's only for a year, but getting stuck in a place like this because of your parents? That's rough being a kid. Well, it's just me and Nanako here, so it'll be nice having someone like you around.
Mm-hmm. Based green tea.
So long as you're here, you're part of the family. So make yourself at home.
Thank you for your kindness.
Come on. There's no need to be so formal.
This is a green tea.
Look, you're making Nanako all tense.
I've had that very specific brand.
Let's eat.
But this label specifically is the green tea label.
Oh, who's calling at this hour? Dojima speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see.
Do they have actual products in this game, actually?
Uh-huh. All right, I'm on my way.
Someone's
I
dead.
made the right choice to skip the booze. Sorry, but I gotta go take care of some business. Go ahead and eat without me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how late I'll be. Nanako, you help him out, okay?
Okay.
Time to be an anime dad. I'm leaving.
Nanako, it's raining out. What did you do with the laundry?
I already brought it in.
All right. Well, I'm off.
Tom to your child. I'm glad they spelled out the cargo broom.
For this week. Next, let's take a look at the hourly breakdown of tomorrow's weather.
Sir, you can eat the food.
Moving in from the west. Expect
I know you have one
rain
giant
throughout the day
chopstick.
tomorrow in most areas.
Eat the food.
Let's eat.
Thank God. You might want to strike up a conversation. Must be tough.
It's always like this.
Every day is great at your Junes. What? And the dad is dead.
City Council Secretary Taro Namatame is under fire for an alleged relationship with a female reporter. His wife, Enka ballad sensation Misuzu Hiragi, revealed to this station that she will likely pursue damages. In response, iTelevision has decided to cancel all of announcer Mayumi Yamano's televised appearances. Until allegations of an affair with Mr. Namatame are resolved,
Where's her forehead, chat?
she'll remain off the air and out of the public eye.
This is boring.
Yeah.
At Junes, every day is Customer
Junes?
Appreciation Day. Come see for yourself.
Okay, we're back in this one again. Why do you like this one? At Junes. Every day is great at Yozunes.
Every day is great at your Junas.
Yeah, every day is great at Yozunes. Why are you meowing at me, Pinky?
Aren't you going to eat?
You can save the game by using the calendar in the living room. Good. Where's the calendar? Have we found the calendar? Check in. Oh, whom? You should leave her alone. Oh, we should check in with her. Oh, you should leave her alone. I'm going to check in with her real quick. Oh, you should leave her alone. I should check in with her real quick, sir. But I should leave her alone. What if I check in with her real quick? Oh, I should leave her alone. Okay. Where's the calendar? Hey, can I check in with you real quick? Oh, I should leave you alone. Got it. Oh, there's the calendar. There's the calendar. Okay. Do you know where it is, though? Ah, I should leave her alone. Hello, sweet Yukibo. How you doing? Ah, wait. Here we go. Saving. You think I should leave her alone? Hello, Aura. Ah, she's at a loss. I should leave her alone. Okay. He opens the fridge. There's some fried rice. Eat it? Eat it. Just going to eat all of your fried rice real quick. Don't worry. Delicious. It has no taste at all. Strange. Chatty has COVID. Hey, why is your rice flavorless? I should leave you alone. Got it. Understood. Because it wasn't used very often. The kitchen isn't organized. There are ingredients in the refrigerator. You might be able to make lunch. Ah. Hey, can I make some lunch? I should leave you alone. Right. Sorry. Okay, well. Ah, I should not go outside. Really? Okay. Hello, child. I should leave you alone. Understood. But where do I go? Do I go upstairs or outside? I should leave you alone. Okay, thank you. This is a room you're borrowing for Dojima. Okay, but like, hey. Is it okay if I borrow this room? Ah, it's at a loss. I should leave her alone. Understood. Sorry. You're tired from a long trip. I should leave the child alone? Okay, I'll check with the child real quick if they want me to leave them alone. Okay? So, would you like me to leave you? I should leave you alone. I understood. Okay, thank you. Okay. I'm tired. You should rest. Okay. Can I watch TV? I'm tired from a long trip. There's a futon. Go to sleep. Hey, I need to tell her I'm going to go to sleep real quick. Give me a second, chat. We're going to check in with her real quick and let her know that I'm sleeping. Hello. I should leave you alone. Right. Sorry. I forgot. I forgot. It's okay. Okay. Oh, a study desk. But I'm tired from a long trip. Fine. We'll sleep. You wonder if everything will be okay as school starts tomorrow. You should go to bed. Hello, Jupiter. How you doing? Hello? The laugh is getting more evil. What do you mean? This is a normal life for happy, nice people. The A is covered in a thick fog. All you can do right now is proceed forward. Okay. Apparently we can't proceed forward, actually. Ah, there it is. Rolling. What if I go back? I need to go see if she needs me to leave her alone. Ah, I can't check that. But what if she wants me to leave her alone, and I don't go back there and check with her? Were you gone for long? Not too long. Stream's only been going on for half an hour. Do you seek the truth? You heard somebody's voice. Ah, I should leave them alone. Rolling around at the speed of sound, God blesses. It's the truth you desire. Come, I want some mac and cheese. You hear the voice from up ahead. You sense someone ahead. Will you continue? But what if they want me to leave them alone, chat? Oh. Fine, I'll take a little bit. You can come feed me. So you are the one pursuing me. Try all you like. Okay, we will attack, I suppose. It seems like you can see a little despite the fog. I guess... indeed, this is very interesting information. They are bewildering me. The surroundings are covered in fog. Everyone sees what they want to, and the fog only deepens. What if I... God. Will we meet again at a place other than here? I look forward to it. You're losing consciousness. Oh no! Why are you saying skill issue, chat? Chat, bad chat. Don't make fun of me. You can hear somebody's voice. And I can drop the voice. Perfect. You can hear somebody's voice.
Breakfast ready.
It's almost time to get up. You feel like you had a nightmare. What could it have been about? Addie, try and stop me. You're starting school today. You should head to the living room for now. Oh my gosh, she made some sick ass... She made some sick breakfast. What is strange about the clickers? Do you want me to do it again so we can figure out what's wrong with them?
Okay.
That is a lot of toast, girl. That is a big fucking egg. Hi, Poku. How you doing, by the way?
Let's eat.
Do you do the cooking?
I can toast bread and cook sunny side up eggs in the morning.
Oh,
Dad can't cook, so I buy dinner.
really?
You're starting school today, right? My school's on the way, so...
She's kind of sick.
Let's go together.
Imagine. Like you wake up and she's made you a full-on freaking breakfast with sausage and egg. And toast. With extra toast.
You keep going straight from here.
Did she just walk...
This way. Bye.
She just walked me to school. Chat, she walked me to school. Why is this the cutest girl in the entire world? Who's this dumbass? That looked painful. You should leave him be. What kind of student life awaits you here? Anti-socialism again.
Hey, it's been a while.
Morning. Yeah, it turns out I couldn't study at iron.
Talk about bad luck. The homeroom teacher here is Morooka, isn't it?
Chat, 1 second. Don't go anywhere. I'm hungry. I'll be right back. Hi, chat. We're back. Why are you eating my... What? Hey. Bad chat. Bad. Down. Sit. Behave yourselves. I said, sit. I'm playing a game.
Yeah, it's King Moron, all right. We get to enjoy his long-ass sermons every day for a whole year.
Hey, you guys, I heard there's going to be a transfer student from the city in this class.
Oh no, a transfer student? That's crazy.
Huh? Really? A guy or a girl?
Oh, I have mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes with gravy.
A transfer student from the city. Just like you, huh, Yosuke? Huh? You look dead today.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
I love this man.
What's with
Hi. Thank you for the welcome back.
Who knows?
All right, shut your traps.
Is that me, chat? Am I him?
I'm Kinshiro Muraoka, your homeroom teacher from today forward.
Is that the one you think I'm like, Fanya? I knew it.
First things first. Just because it's spring doesn't mean you can swoon over each other like love-struck baboons.
Try and stop me.
Long as I'm around, you students are gonna be pure as the driven snow. Now, I hate wasting my time, but I'd better introduce this transfer student. This sad sack's been thrown from the big city out to the middle of nowhere like yesterday's garbage. And he's just as much of a loser here as he was there. So
Wow.
you girls better not get any ideas about hitting on him.
Because he's a loser. We just said this.
Tell him your name, kid, and make it quick.
You calling me a loser? Your courage has increased.
That's it. You're on my shit list. Effective immediately.
The oversized overbite. Tee
Now listen up. This town is miles away from your big city of perverts and assholes in more ways than one.
Perverts and assholes.
You better not even think of getting involved with the girls here, let alone abusing them.
This man seems a bit obsessed about the girls here.
It's not like the old days. Even here, kids grow up so damn fast. Every time I turn my back, you're fooling around on those damn phones, checking your life journals.
He's a freak.
And your
He's a freak.
My places.
Excuse me, is it okay if the transfer student sits here?
That's me, chap. I'm her.
Huh? Yeah, sure. You hear that? Your seat's over there. So hurry up and sit down already.
He's the worst, huh? Rotten
Yeah.
luck for you to get stuck in this class. Well, we just have to hang in there for a year.
Oh, the VAs are great so far. You can hear people around you talking about you.
Sucks to be the transfer student, ending up in King Moron's class on the first morning here.
Yeah, he won't think twice about suspending you if you get on his bad side.
Crazy.
Then again, we're all in the same boat.
Shut your traps. I'm taking roll, and I damn well expect you to respond in an orderly manner.
Food's good. Will you be able to fit in here? I'm very happy with my food, chat. Oh, he does.
That's all for today. Normal lectures
You can
will
have a
start
single
tomorrow.
bite, yes. Fine, we can have two people can have bites.
Attention all teachers. Please report immediately to the faculty office for a brief staff meeting. All students must return to their classrooms and are not to leave the school until further notice.
Womp womp.
Ugh. You heard the announcement. Don't go anywhere until you hear otherwise.
All right, chat, we're leaving.
He's seriously getting on my nerves.
That's worrying.
Did something happen? Don't those sirens sound really close? I can't see a damn thing. Frickin' fog.
Sorry, chat. No, I got an email from the parking garage I park in. And,
Hey, did you hear? I hear that paparazzi's looking all over for that announcer.
yeah, it's weird. Like, apparently the parking garage got bought up by a different company. And so, wait, how much is this gonna be? I'll figure out later, chat. Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah. You mean Mayumi Yamano, right? I heard some guy spotted her at the shopping district.
Actually, I heard that.
Did
Are
they?
you serious?
Ooh. Don't steal my car.
Yukiko-san, mind if I ask you something? Is it true that announcer staying at your family's inn?
I can't discuss such things.
Yeah, I guess not.
That's why I changed Vanya. So they quit stealing my car.
How much longer is
It's
this
true
gonna
facts, true facts. You can't blame me for that one, can you?
There's no telling. I should have left before the announcement came on. By the way, did you try what I told you the other day?
Yeah, don't steal cars, Vanya.
You know,
They tried to sell them, but I stopped them. Yeah, did you do Bloody Mary in your mirror and then sacrifice a goat?
no, not yet. Sorry.
She couldn't find a goat.
That's okay. It's just, I heard a guy in the class next door yell something like, "My soulmate is Yamano, the announcer."
Attention, all students.
Auto lending?
There has been an incident inside the school district. Police officers have been dispatched around the school zone.
We killed one of the children.
Stay calm and contact your parents or guardians as soon as possible and quickly leave the school grounds.
Oh, yeah, Aura.
Do not disturb the police officers.
bummer.
Head directly home. I repeat.
Incident?
No, I punish you. I don't do it for fun.
Something actually happened? Come on,
Who's
let's go
Ma?
take a look.
Get sprayed. Oh, I didn't know Neeks goes by Mama now.
Why don't you come with us? Oh, nearly forgot. I'm Chie Satonaka. You know, I sit next to you, right?
You do? No, of course. We just talked.
Well, nice to meet you.
Hey, GA.
This is Yukiko Amagi.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Am I going to be quizzed later?
Come on, don't apologize like that. It makes me look like I got no upbringing. I just wanted to ask some stuff, really. That's all.
Yeah. Did you kill the person? Bleak-looking student.
This was really awesome. Like, the way they moved was just amazing to see. And I'm
really sorry. It was an accident. Please just have mercy until my next paycheck.
Oh no.
See ya. Thanks.
Stop right there. What did you do to my DVD?
He is so clumsy.
I can't believe this! It's completely cracked! Oh, my trial of the dragon!
I think mine's cracked too. Critical hit to the nads.
Amazing.
Are you all right?
He dead.
Oh, Yukiko-san. Are you worried about me?
He's fine, Yukiko. Let's ditch him and go home.
He looks like he's in a lot of pain. You should leave him be. Why do I not care about this man? Why am I just so accepting? Yeah, he's in pain. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
You're Yuki, right? You want to go hang out somewhere?
What? Who are you?
What's
up with him? What school's he from?
Just a weird fucking...
Never mind that. He's going for Yukiko-san? Man, you'd think he'd at least wait until she's alone to make his move.
I bet you a can of Tappy gets knocked out.
Tap?
No bet. Haven't you heard how difficult the Amagi challenge is?
So, are you coming or not?
What a weirdo.
I'm not going.
Fine.
Hey, you want to go somewhere? No. Okay, fine. Fucking...
What did he want from me?
To hang out, apparently. Oh,
What did
weirdo.
he want? Obviously he was asking you out on a date.
No, but asking somebody out like that is weird, Jupiter. Have you ever asked somebody out on a date before, Jupiter?
You really had no clue? Sheesh. But then again, that was way over the top. It was creepy how he called you Yuki all of a sudden.
Yo, Yukiko-san. Turned down another lovelorn fool, huh?
You just walk up and ask their number. How often does that work?
You got me the same way last year.
I don't recall doing that.
Well, are you serious? So then you want to hang out sometime?
Well, Jupiter, I hope I can be your first loss.
I'd rather not.
That'll teach me to get my hopes up.
Hi, Bomo. And hey, thank you for
Anyways,
the
you two better not
hydrate
pick
and
on
the stretch.
transfer student too much.
That's fair, that's fair. What's this game about? Being persona'd.
We're just curious is all.
Hi, Bomo.
I'm sorry for dragging you into this.
Come on, let's go. Everyone's staring.
There will never be one of those redeems, Pink.
Oh. So you came here because of your parents' job?
Yes.
I thought it was something way more serious.
There's 4 personas. Why are we doing so many of these? Who enjoys this voice? Who enjoys this voice? This voice has been redeemed exclusively today. There's 3 redeems of it so far.
There really is nothing here.
I do like this voice. I do like this.
That's what makes it nice. But there's nothing much we can show to people from outside.
Yeah, there's nothing much you can show.
Something from Mount Yasogami? I think our dyed clothes or pottery or something is kind of famous.
Well, I didn't think it'd be this popular.
And there's the Amagi Inn. Yukiko's family runs it. It's the pride of Inaba.
Well, we will get into Southern eventually. I don't get to use my voice much, do I?
Just an old inn.
No way! It's been in all sorts of magazines as a hidden treasure.
It's a hidden treasure, chat. I'm not even German. I'm only half German. Doesn't count.
Gonna take over someday.
Und Yukiko is going to I zoned out. I don't remember what she said.
I don't think that's entirely true.
Verzehr half. We are all living in America. America is wunderbar.
You think Yukiko's cute, huh?
Sure, she is totally cute. American. Hard to say.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to put you on the spot right in front of her.
Is that neat?
Come on, don't start this again.
She's really popular at school, but she's never had a boyfriend. Kinda weird, huh?
What a weird thing to do to your friend. Hello, look at my friend. On say haunt. Guess what? They don't date anybody. Isn't that weird? Anyways, look at my weirdo friend here.
Come on, stop it. You shouldn't believe that, okay? It's not true that I'm popular or that I've never had a boyfriend. Wait, no. What I meant to say was I don't need a boyfriend. Jeez, Chie.
Hello, editor. How you doing? We're playing Persona. Hello, Cole.
Barely said a word.
I always want to call you editor, but I know I should be calling you Coltrane. The Coltrane. They do editing, and they've done some editing for me, and it's very, very cool. Go check them out, chat.
School early, and as she came down this street,
then she shot him.
Who could imagine that hanging from an antenna?
That's true. I don't know what accent I'm going to be doing either.
Oh, you got here too late.
Ghost train.
Well, I think it's terrifying. I can't believe a dead body showed up around here.
That's crazy.
Wait, what did she just say? A dead body?
Hey, friends, my name is Chie, and I am very loud, and I'm trying to sneak around and tell suspicious things. Just use an accent you can't do? Probably. I don't like doing French. But I don't really do Russian either.
Hey, what are you doing here?
A dead body. We were just looking for the dead body.
I clear out of here before you get in our way. That damn principal. We told him not to let them through here.
Really? A Russian is what gets you.
You know this guy?
I'm Detective Dojima, his guardian.
He is odd.
But you three really ought to stop wandering around and head straight home.
Oh, look at this nerd. Look how nerdy he is.
Adachi, how long are you going to act like a rookie? You want to be sent back to the central office?
I'm sorry.
Enjoy your script. Have a good one. Be good.
Go wash your face. We're going to go around and gather information.
Was this what that announcement was about?
Yes, announcement about her corpse.
What do you mean it was hanging from the antenna?
Hey, Yukiko, why don't we go to Junes some other time?
Good idea.
But I wanna go to Junes. Chat, what is the song for Junes?
All right then, we're taking off. Starting tomorrow, neighbor, let's do our best.
Hello, I'm standing right next to you. Let me yell very loudly. The two of them left. You decide to head away from the crime scene. Every day greater Junes. Alright, I guess we're going home. What are you crying about? You go first. Okay, Natsa.
I wonder if Dad's not coming home again tonight.
I wonder if Dad's not coming home. Jupiter, what are you writing down?
Concerns a bizarre case in a quiet suburb.
Oh no, the father died.
A woman woman was found dead near the Samegawa River in Inaba.
Could this be the incident you read about?
Has been identified as Miss Mayumi Gasp. A 27-year-old announcer at the local television station. The initial results of the Inaba Police Department's investigation have revealed
that she had a gun. God damn it, sorry.
That's where Dad works.
Now I gotta do this again. Oh, chat, by the way, I'm looking for no forehead having it. Why are you so mean to me? I have a forehead, it's underneath the hair.
It's his job, so things like this happen.
The body was found hanging from a large television antenna atop a local resident's roof.
Bad Vanya, don't make fun of me.
Authorities are uncertain as to why the body was in such a state. With the cause of death also uncertain, police continue to investigate whether the death is an accident or a homicide. A thick fog common to the area has slowed their progress.
Sorry, I was disappointed.
Fully canvass the area.
Thank you. It seems the local TV station's announcer was found dead near the high school campus. Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you. Her affair with local councilman. Why am I doing this voice? Her affair with local councilman secretary had been on the news just the other day.
Found her on the roof? That's scary.
God, I'm terrified of roofs.
Oh, it's Juness.
Hey, it's Juness.
At Juness, every day is Customer Appreciation Day. Come see for yourself and get in touch with our products.
Is Juness the evil? Every day's great at your Juness.
Every day's great at your Juness.
Every day's great at your Juness. Enjoy your drink. You're a good singer.
I'm the best one in my class.
Oh, whoa. There you go. Sing the song to herself over and over and over again. It seems that she's forgotten all about the scary story. Yay! Oh, what a cutie. Hey, when's Dad coming home? Nanako keeps looking towards the TV with a weird expression. You should leave her alone. Ah, got it. All right. I'm gonna check the fridge real quick. Hey, Nanako, there ain't nothing in the fridge. I should leave her alone, though. All right. Because it isn't used often. Hey, Nanako, can I make a lunch? I should leave you alone. Got it. Sorry. I'm gonna go outside. Oh. Hey, I'm not allowed to go outside. Do you know what it might be? I should leave you alone. Got it. What's on the TV? Quiz show. I should talk to her. You're right, Annie. Oh, I should leave her alone. All right, chat. All right, we'll go upstairs now. Rest. Damn it! I was gonna do it again.
Someone.
Rolling student. Maybe you should help him.
You saved me. Thanks.
I love him.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Wait, it fucked up my name. Why is my name like that? 95, Swagman 3.
I'm Yosuke Hanamura. Nice to meet you.
Are you okay?
Oh yeah, I'm fine.
Yosuke seems to be alright.
Say, did you hear about the incident from yesterday? We found that announcer lady hanging from an antenna. I think it was some
I named myself apparently 95,
something that weird could have
Swagman 3. Oh.
Dangling a dead body over a roof like that? That's just messed up. Then again, it's pretty messed up to kill someone in the first place.
It's true, chat. Killing people bad. Don't do it.
Oh crap, we're late. You want to ride? It's a little squeaky, but it should be fine.
I don't trust you. I'll be honest, buddy. Kill people bad.
Be quiet, you idiots. You guys are in high school, aren't you? Can't you shut up during class? Don't you have any common sense? First of all, my job is to waste my precious time teaching you assholes philosophy, and since I'm so nice, I'll straighten up your rotten attitudes while I'm at it, aren't you, Honard? And I'll be going especially hard on any of you morons that are curious about the murder, got it? Now get your books out.
You listen to the lecture intently. Your knowledge has increased. No. Chad, I'm smarter now.
So, you getting used to this place?
Apparently. Being a bitch. Not yet.
Yeah, well, you just got here.
I know. Well,
There isn't much to do here compared to the big city. But there is that certain...
have y'all ever been to the big city?
Anywhere else. The air's clean, the food's great. Oh, you know about the local delicacy?
Titties.
Grilled steak, man.
Oh.
Like that's anything special, huh? I know a place where you can get it cheap. Want to come? Helped me out this morning, so it's on me.
That's fair. Titties, the special.
What about me, huh?
I live
No
near a big city.
apologies? My trial of the dragon?
Got it, Jupiter. I'm coming to visit you so we can go to a femboy cafe.
You always
Hi,
come around
Neeks.
when I'm talking about food.
What's up, Neeks?
How about it, Yukiko? Don't you think he should treat us too?
Fine. Why are you so mean to me, Jupiter?
I'll pass.
Neeks, what the
I
hell?
can't gain any more weight. I need to help out.
What?
at the
You
inn
didn't.
today.
You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so very much. Thank you. Thank you. That's
Wow,
crazy.
Yukiko-san, you started training to take over the business?
It's not like that. I'm just helping out when it gets busy.
Wow. I really, really appreciate it, Neeks.
Well,
Thank you.
I should be on my
Thank
way.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh well, we should get going too.
Oh.
Huh? Do I seriously have to treat two people?
Junes. All right, what are we having?
This is the cheap place you were talking about? Ugh, they don't have grilled steak here.
And yeah, don't forget to treat yourself, Neeks. But I'll make sure to get myself something nice too.
Once you hopped on the
Thank you.
freeloader train, I had to change my plans.
Still, that's no reason to take us to your place.
Dude, this isn't my place or anything. Oh, right. I haven't told you yet, huh?
Hey.
I moved here from another city about 6 months back. This location just opened up and my dad was assigned to manage it. So our entire family came out here. Here, this is to welcome you to town.
In fact, what? Don't you dare,
Southern
Neeks.
Naka?
I don't know what
Yours
you're
is
gonna do,
on
but
me,
don't
too.
do it.
Yeah, I know.
No, don't you dare. Thank you, Neeks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do really appreciate it. I do genuinely appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Conversation began animated over small talk.
It's only been half a year since this place opened up, but I haven't been to the local shopping district much since.
Hi, Shiny.
A lot of stores there started closing, and
You can't blame it all
Jupiter.
on Junes, can you?
Jupiter, sweetie, I'm sorry. Will you ever forgive me? Will you ever forgive me? Who the heck is she? Why does she look sad?
It's Saki-senpai.
Saki!
Sorry, be right back.
Yosuke's girlfriend.
he wishes.
I'm the spice of life.
That's Saki Kanishi. Her family runs a liquor store
Hell
in the shopping
yeah.
district.
Chat, I know where we're going. We're getting drinks.
I think she's working here part-time, though.
Fair enough. What'd you redeem? Oh, stretch. Thank you.
Hey, how's it going? You look beat.
Hey, I'm finally on break. What's up, Hana-chan? Boosting the family business by bringing your friends here?
Oh, yeah.
Madam, you wound me. Kidding aside, you look down. Did something happen?
I don't know if I like her.
Oh, it's nothing.
It's not bad, Jazzy. How you doing?
Hey, if you need to talk, I'm always willing to listen.
I'm okay. Thanks, though.
Code Lyoko head ass.
Why'd I leave school early yesterday? Hey, is he the kid who transferred here?
Oh, Sweaty from Peak. What happened? Full Head City.
Are you the transfer student? Oh, did you hear about me already?
Mm-hmm.
It must be nice to have someone else from the big city to talk to, huh? I don't see Hana-chan hanging out with the other guys much.
Chat. Pay attention to me more. Give me more attention.
Not necessarily.
He doesn't have too many friends, so I hope you two get along good.
In Peak first time.
Hana-chan's a
Stop
good
me.
guy, but he can get nosy sometimes. You gotta tell him right to his face when he starts to annoy you.
Wait, I'm his first friend? I would always take praise. Hi, Shiny. Nah, he's a great guy.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Everybody hates that man.
There's no need to worry about something like that.
All right, senpai.
Well, laters.
Oh shit, I just skipped everything she said.
Senpai?
Can we eat whatever's on the plate? I want to know what the food is.
But she's even nosier than me.
Please eat it.
She has a younger brother, and she treats me pretty much the same way.
Please. I need to know what it is.
Oh, you don't want her treating you like a brother, huh?
I don't
Get it.
care.
So that's how it is. The daughter of a local family-run liquor
Yeah, senpai? Why are you gnawing?
chain. Oh, the flame of forbidden love.
Cheer, you fat ass. Try the food so I know what it is.
Dude, it's not like that.
Oh, really? Well, I know just the thing to cheer up that
Meow.
sick heart. You ever hear of the Midnight
I
Channel?
want to know what the food is.
Supposed to look
Hi,
into
Lost. How you
and
doing?
Switched off, alone, exactly at midnight on a rainy night.
Chie. Oh, hello, bestie. My name's LuckyJene. I'm watching you.
While you're staring at
How was
your
work?
own image, another person will appear on the screen. And they say that
No reason.
person's your soulmate.
What? For a second, I thought you were actually going to say something useful.
The
How do you
food.
get all excited over such a childish urban legend like that?
Oh, well, thank you, Neeks. That's really cute.
Childish, huh?
Oh, I'm sorry work went rough. We did the pretty makeup, right? Oh, did you get the nose ring out of your sink?
Of course I don't.
I do have a clicker.
Well, it's raining tonight. Let's all try it out. Then you'll
Well.
see.
Try it out. Wait, you haven't even tried it yourself?
Eat the food.
Oh, I'm trying to remember the last time I heard something this stupid.
I want to know what it is.
All that aside, you know that incident yesterday? You guys, what if the culprit behind it was still
What?
lurking around?
I'm not a cat, Jay. I'm not a cat. I'm also not a dog.
Jeez, you shouldn't joke about stuff like that. Now who's the childish one?
Oh, come on. The cocktail waitress said I was trying too hard? What the fuck is wrong with them? Well, Lost, I really appreciate your makeup, okay?
All I'm saying is, you guys better try it out tonight.
Woof woof, Neeks, get back here. I'm such a good doggy. I know you nailed it. I'm sorry that people thought you were trying too hard, but I know you did great. We don't know what the food is! We don't know what the food is! Who? How? No! That could have been anything! It looked good. Oh, sorry. The clicker is when people aren't paying enough attention to me. So I do a little clicky click. No, Nanako can't make dinner. Nanako only makes fried eggs. Nanako bought dinner. They mentioned that earlier. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of meat, by the way. I could have made any kind of meat. I want to know what the seasoning, the sauces was. It looked tasty. I love.
Oh, he's home.
I'm just so upset, yeah. I wanted to know what the food was.
What a day.
Hello, Mr. Red Tie. Oh, look, Miso.
No, you're late again.
Dojima. I do love meat.
I'm busy at work.
Chat, I just want to click the clicker a bunch. Oh, chat, just close your ears for a little bit, okay? Okay, I feel better.
Can you put the news on for me?
Nanako, you in search of a stimuli by chance? What's up?
Next, more details in the developing story on the incident in Foggy Inaba.
I know, right? And it's in my hand right now. It feels good. I did. I like the clicky. The clicky, it's nice, and it felt good to press it. Oh.
Announcer Mayumi Yamano's dead body was found hanging above a house in this isolated rural town. It is confirmed that Miss Yamano had been involved in an affair with Taro Namatame, husband of enka singer Misuzu Hiragi.
I'm eating a chat. Ow. Hey, Addie, what are you reading, Addie? You having difficulty reading? Man's wife. I'm sorry, I'll stop, Addie. You enjoy your book. Enjoy it. Read it to me.
The police plan to investigate this relationship and question any personnel involved with them.
Don't chew my cables. Don't chew my cables. No, I need those. Why do you want to chew my cables, chat? Explode.
An interview with a kid?
What went through your mind when you saw it? Could you tell she was dead? Did you see her face?
That voice. The female student's face and voice are indistinct, but you feel like you've seen her before.
Don't you think it's scary that someone was killed on a foggy day?
You know, it's the same as killing anybody on any other day.
Huh? She was killed? Oh, so did you see anyone suspicious around here?
No, not really.
We heard that you found it when you left school early. Did you have some personal business to take care of?
Yes, I killed her. I mean, what?
Huh? That's...
The border enthusiasm seems to be perplexing the girl. I need my walls.
That occurred near the local shopping district. Many store owners are raising concerns about losing customers as a result.
If they lose more customers, it'll be because you're making such a stink about it.
Hi, Kimizu. How you doing? I'm doing good. Hello. Kimizu.
I'd have to say it's a warning or a sign from the culprit.
Kimizu.
Yes, but so far, no one has come forward to take credit for the crime.
Chat, stop eating my walls. Come on.
So the cause of death is still unknown, and they don't have a single suspect yet? Taxpayers' funds are going to a police force who can't even
I
figure
take
out if
credit
this
for
is an
crimes.
accident or a homicide.
Thank you, Silas. My walls are not yummy. They've never been yummy. Why has this always been a thing?
We'll be right back after these messages.
Don't take my carpet. Don't even.
Every day is Customer Appreciation Day. Come see for yourself and get in
touch with our products. It's great at yours. Every day's great at yours.
Hey, Dad.
Oh, it's not my fault.
Together sometime?
Enjoy my couch, I suppose.
No?
No. He's asleep. Man.
Jeez.
Oh, guy's great at yours. Hey, how you doing? When I go to bed, I'll wake Dad up and tell him to go to his own room. Oh, I shouldn't leave her alone, chat. We gotta stay here and keep talking to her. What if I wake him up? Oh, I should leave him alone. Okay, but you know what? Like, what if I check the fridge real quick? I don't think that catches my eye. Hey. We don't have any food. I should leave you alone. Got it. Okay. Hey, the kitchen's still disorganized? Oh, I should leave you alone. Okay. Okay, well. Can I do a Korean accent? I'm gonna be honest, when it comes to different ethnicities, I will most likely... Can I... No. I will generally avoid those. I am very white. Oh. Well, Moreau. Oh. Thank you for the sub. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate it, Nix. Thank you. Alright, let's go try out the Midnight Channel chat. No, Nix. You can hear it raining outside. It's almost midnight. Your soulmate appears if you look into a TV on a rainy night. Could Shay's story be true? Thank you, Nonix. Check out these lights, chat. Look how many lights there are. There are so many lights. Okay, we are going to hit the TV now. Even blinking is too much for you. I don't feel that. That is... The TV can be very bad. Very bad indeed. Oh no, the TV is on. Would you like to play a game? I am thou, thou art I. I'm not gonna do anything to chat. Yeah, there's been no food. I'm so upset, chat. I'm very hungry, actually. The door. Open the door. Oh, I'd love a chip. Thank you. I'm hungry. Boom, boom, boom. Into the TV I go. Where it stops, no one knows. Oh, Jupiter, you haven't heard my Oh, God, he's dead, chat. Jupiter, have you heard my VA demo reel, by the way? Aha. Chat, we're going to play my demo reel while I grab a snack. We're back. I don't think I'm going to make it. My legs hurt. Even my brain hurts.
Reversing the polarity will cause a cataclysmic reaction of... turn the dials right. Make device go boom.
I thought I'd left you dead in the desert.
I mean, haunted by ghosts, ain't I? I guess I deserve it.
Good evening, fellow Mad Cats. DJ Fang is ready to spin more records. Coming up next, 12 commercials back to back. My favorite.
You made it. I didn't think you'd come. No one else has. Still, you seriously made my day.
We are not taking any more party members. Wait, are you wearing a dead possum as a scarf?
Nah, she ain't dead. She's just scared. The poor sweetie pie.
Please, take a seat. Right here, by my side.
Where you can't get away so easily.
I am nerd. Hear me roar. I can't really roar that well, but I'm trying, okay?
Well, that's what the last guy thought. And you don't want to know what happened to him.
Do not be blinded by fear, my child. Embrace it. Welcome it. Let it pass. Remember, only you shall remain in the end.
Nom, 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 nom. I have no milk, chat, so I'm gonna eat some dry cereal. Thank you, thank you. Adi, have you not heard it either? I thought you'd heard it before. I am broke, so I have Coca Dynabites. Coca Dynabites.
Good evening, Twink. Oh, I can't believe you'd call me a twinkalist, really. What have I done to sicken you so? Do you not understand how much of a masculine man I am?
Anyways, but yeah. Did I wake you up?
I heard a really loud noise.
Twunk.
Well, good night.
A very masculine man. A massive twink. I'm a twunk. I'll be a twunk, chat. I will accept being a twunk. Too powerful. Never put Gene on speaker ever again. Why'd you put me on speaker, Jupiter? Didn't you want this to just be a personal time between the two of us? Multiple trick pony of a VA. Yay! Are you still home alone? Oh.
Sorry.
Hey, yo, Miss Karen, I'm coming over tonight. I did have my own, but I saw the Kung Fu movie where they used an umbrella to pull off some sweet moves, and I accidentally broke mine trying to mimic the movie. Chi, I love you. You're incredible. You're so cool.
Oh, damn, man. We're going to do that southern voice again. You know, I should make some variations on the southern voice. I can drop back here a bit. Yeah, that one works. Oh, I can go up here a little bit. You know, this one here. Just a variation.
But yeah, never mind. I'll save it for when the others are around. I'm gonna be late for school. Which one? Which one do you like, Moss? The first one? Like when I'm simping? Nah, I want more cereal. 1 second. Why are you fetching lots of all right, sorry. I mean, Bomo. Bomo, how you been doing today?
Yeah, I think I'll keep going with you. Hey, Leon. How you doing there, Leon? Leon. Leon's fun. Leon's so much fun to say. The hell's this now? I mean, look at her. Look at her out there. She's got that. I mean, this feels a bit like cultural appropriation. I ain't sure I can really. Hi, Desi. Hello, everybody. My name's Kimiko Sufu, and I don't know how much about world history, but I'm an expert. First, a little about me. I love to use my dials to look for lost items. There's nothing quite like romance. I hope we can all enjoy the profundity of history together. She's wearing one of them Egyptian things, you know what they are. And since it's my first lecture, let's start with an easy question. Our transferee, Mr. Swagman 3, please stand up. The Western calendar is based on Anno Domini, the traditionally believed the year Jesus Christ's birth. What the year before 180 called 1 BC. You give the answer to things correct. So you seem to understand as well. If you think that history is like math, dear ID would be a natural something. But world history is much more complicated. Do I have a Discord? Of course I have a Discord. Why wouldn't I? That's why when counting backwards, you go from 1 AD straight to 1 BC. Hopefully that was a nice introduction to world history. You gave the correct answer. Aurora is big in the sky, so her name gets tapped out a lot. What's up, Lorax? Lorax, you goofy little man. I see you been hanging out in them trees again. Ain't that right, Lorax? Oh.
What's up with the body being hung upside down? That's so freaky.
That's right, Chad. It makes it a lot less freaky if the body's hung up the right way around, you know?
Is it supposed to be like mimicking an execution? It's messed up.
I'm the Lorax, and I speak for the trees.
My senpai told me it was a third year named Saki who found the body.
And for some fucking reason, they're speaking Vietnamese.
Yo.
What's up, Yosuke?
It's not really that important, but...
Alright. Bye then.
Well, yesterday on TV,
Oh, so it is important. Alright, I got it.
Oh, you never mind. Look, I'll tell you later.
Yosuke, did you hear the rumor?
About my shorts being too tight?
Saki-senpai's supposedly the one who discovered that body.
No shit, man. Really? I didn't even see that one coming. Oh.
I wonder if that's why she looked so down. She doesn't seem to be at school today either.
Uninstall Big Mac, chat. Just uninstall it. You don't need no Big Macs.
Huh?
Yeah, Saki-senpai.
Are you helping out at the inn today too?
Ara.
It's really out of hand right now. I'm sorry.
I'm eating dry cereal. Man, let me eat my dry cereal in peace. What's with you and not letting me have my dry cereal?
Is it just me, or does Yukiko-san seem way stressed out today?
I guess they're running her ragged.
Yeah. She killed somebody recently. It was me, chat. I'm dead, actually.
Did you see it last night?
Oh, yeah. What were you talking about?
Huh?
I mean, I was on a different website, honestly.
Well, what about you?
I did. I seriously saw a girl.
She's a lesbian, chat. Chat, she's a lesbian.
But my soulmate's a girl? What's that supposed to mean?
Girl, you about to have a rude awakening. I mean,
I couldn't
sounds
tell
fine.
who it was, but it was a girl
She
for
gay.
sure.
Gay ass game.
Her hair was brown, about shoulder length. She was wearing our school uniform,
Oh.
and...
Hey, I think that's the same person I saw.
She gay and bally. Can you believe it?
Couldn't make out that much detail, though. The image I saw was much blurrier.
Me, Leon, I ain't got no money right now. You want to buy me some milk? Is that what you want to do? I have a giant bag of cereal. Of course I'm eating that.
Wait, so you saw it too?
She just left me for real, for real. Yeah, give me some
We
milk.
saw the same girl? Does that
Okay, and I can drop that now.
have the same soulmate?
Yeah. Milk, father. Give me your milk, milk, father.
How should I know? How about you? Did you see it?
You told them about what happened last night.
It
Oh,
sounds like we all saw
lactose
the same
daddy.
person. But weird voices aside, what was that about getting sucked into your TV? Were you that tired last night? You must have just fallen asleep in front of your TV.
I got sucked into my TV.
That'd be one interesting dream, though. I like the part where you got stuck because your TV was too small. That's pretty realistic.
I like the time that you were stupid.
If it had been
Wait, we're
bigger-
milking somebody?
Oh, that reminds me. Our family's been talking about buying a bigger TV.
So that you can properly get sucked by your TV. Number 14. Midnight Channel. You wouldn't want to be sucked by your TV.
Oh, yeah?
But that just might happen
Well, flat
when
screen
you
TVs
are.
definitely in these days. Want to go check them out on the way back? We're beefing up our electronics department this month.
Oh, definitely.
You
My
never know.
parents don't know anything
Ow.
about electronics, and I've just got to see my kung fu movies on the big screen.
Amazing.
We've got some pretty big ones in stock.
Oh, yeah, I bet you do, Yosuke.
They don't believe you at all. Can I be a TV? He's had to go to June's with the others. I'll be sucked by annoying. June's electronic department. Jesus.
Huge!
Ah, that's what she said, chat.
Who buys something like this?
I don't know. Rich folks? Honestly, not many people shop for TVs here. That's why we don't have clerks around.
Huh. Not worth trying then, I guess. Well, at least looking
Don't worry about it. Hey, chat. I think I'm stealing the twink on the right. What do you think?
Nope. Can't get in. Figures.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding? No, can't get into the TV.
This proves it. It was all just a dream.
Wait, no, excuse me. Excuse me. Yes, when I walk into my closet at home, I get teleported to a different realm. Yeah, so we decided to go to Home Depot and start walking through random doors. And guess what? Those random doors at Home Depot don't lead you to a magic realm. Case closed.
Besides, these flat screen TVs are so thin, you just end up on the other side. What am I saying? So, Chia, what kind of TV are you guys in the market for?
They said they
Oh,
wanted one
man.
that's cheap. You got any suggestions?
Oh, man.
Well, miss, might I suggest this one over here?
Mm-mm.
It's the newest model, just released this spring.
Exactly, Boken.
What? That's not cheap at all. There's way too many
Gotcha.
zeros.
Well, if you
I
don't look at
should've
them.
asked what you meant by cheap right off the bat.
Hmm.
You got connections, right? Come on, hook me up.
Come on, hook me up.
No, I can't do that. How about this one over here?
Sorry.
It's a display unit. It's a little old,
I
but
better write it down. What's your idea? No, don't you glor. Come back. Hey, Jupiter, get back here. Random doors don't do that. It's true. It's true. With a TV this big, you really might be able to go inside. Oh, whoa. Let's get inside that TV. Oh, my... What?
Oh, yeah. What kind of TV do you...
Oh, yeah, 95! What kind of TV do you...
Huh? Something wrong, Yosuke?
About to get sucked into a TV. Hello there, Nix. How you doing? Did you miss me?
Whoa.
Oh, they asked for consent. I mean, haha, let's go.
Is that some kind of new model? Like with a new function?
Chie, you have a below room temperature IQ. Please stop talking. It's only going to make things worse.
Hell no.
No, Jay.
You gotta be kidding me. Did you really stick your hand through the screen?
No, Chie. The fuck you think's happening here?
Oh man, this is for real. That's some magic trick, man.
Okay, you're not much better right now.
So how's it work, huh? What's the magician's secret?
You might be able to put in more than just your arm. I'm gonna put more in my other. And his head is gone. I love Chie, but she's also so stupid. Oh my god. There's empty space inside. You tell them that.
What do you mean inside?
What do you mean empty space?
Push him. It seems very spacious in here. Bye.
What do you mean spacious?
I mean, what's going on?
Holy crap. I think this is all too much for my bladder.
Oh my god, it's too exciting. I need to piss. What is he, a dog?
What the? Are you gonna pee your pants?
I've been holding it in all day. I haven't had a chance to go. I can't hold it anymore.
Is he gonna piss his pants?
Shit, customers, they're coming.
What? But we've got a guy half stuck in the TV.
He's about to piss his pants.
What are we gonna do?
Stinky.
Wait,
Fucking kidding me. Muff. Chat stinks.
I landed right on my wallet.
Man, where the heck are we? What is this place? Some
Prove it.
place inside Junette's?
Prove it.
No, it isn't. I mean, we
See
fell
ya.
through a TV. Actually, what is going on here?
The piss dimension. Sorry, I can't help it. It's piss land. It's piss land. It's where everything's piss. It's all just piss, cat. It's all just piss. Can you believe it?
We're still alive, right?
No. Chie, you died exclusively. I'm sorry. I'm still fine. But you're dead.
Are you guys okay?
It's the urination station.
I think my butt's cracked now.
Of course it is.
Whoa.
What now? Did you wet your pants?
That's why it's piss.
Stupid. Look around.
He pissed himself, chat. He went pee-pee.
Is this
I'm bullying him.
a studio?
The piss room.
This fog. Oh, there's no place like this in Inaba, is there?
Hell no.
You'll know.
Man, this place is huge.
That's what she said.
What are we gonna do?
Let's look around.
Huh? But... Look, we need to get home, and...
I'm afraid of pee. Me too, chat. I'm also afraid of pee.
Huh?
I know that you didn't know this, but it's true facts about me, chat.
Wait a minute. Which way did we come in from?
The north.
I don't see a way in. Or out.
Yep, scared of pee.
That can't be right. How could that be?
Just him.
I don't know. Don't ask me.
All right, Chie, where do we need to go? Oh,
I
right.
can't take this anymore. I want to go home.
Okay, so how?
We're doomed.
What? Don't say stuff like that! Let's calm down and think about this. Alright, so we need to find a way out.
Yep, Yosuke needs to pee.
Is there really a way out of here?
We got in, so we must be able to get out somehow.
He doesn't understand how holes work, chat.
If there's no exit, we're trapped, so let's cross our fingers and look around.
I got more pee, chat.
What is this place? It feels different from where we were before.
That's because of the tint.
Looks like we're in some kind of building, but damn, this fog's so thick I can hardly see.
It looks like we're in some kind of building. No shit, Sherlock.
Are you sure we're not wandering farther away?
I can't be positive, but we've got to trust our instinct a little.
You know, that's why it's X-rated, or AO version, the adults-only version. Spelling. Oh, nice.
Hey, is it me or is the fog lighting?
I do love these characters, by the way, chat. I do actually love these characters. I'm gonna keep bullying them, but I love them.
Service. What a surprise.
They're like 16. You're allowed to bully them.
It's hard enough to see where you're going. Huh?
I bet the pissfish does live here, actually.
It's a dead end. There's no exit.
It keeps getting creepier and creepier the further we go.
Yeah, of course.
I can't hold it any longer.
Darker piss.
My bladder's gonna explode.
Yosuke!
Don't just piss on the wall, my guy.
I gotta let it out before I piss my pants.
Like piss on the bed.
You're going here? Oh, you have got to be kidding.
Turn around. I can't go if everyone's watching. I can't do it. It's all your fault if my bladder bursts.
Like I care.
Put that thing away. Put those dogs away, Chad.
Check out these posters. Their faces are all cut out. Someone must really hate this person.
Look, it's a noose.
This chair and rope? That kind of arrangement is never good. It's tied in a noose. Is this a scarf?
Come on! Let's go back to where we came from and look somewhere else for an exit.
I mean, there's an exit right there. Anyways.
Who cares? Let's go! I'm sick of this place. And I'm not feeling so good.
I'll just bish.
Now that you mention it, me too.
Atmosphere.
Alright, let's go back. I'm seriously starting to feel sick.
Phew. We finally made it back here. Wait, what's that?
Oh, wait, what's that?
There's something over there.
Oh, Chad, I'm EPs. Oh my god, what is that?
What is this thing? A monkey?
Isn't that thing in Love and Deep in Space? Or is that something different?
What in the world?
That's what I want to know. Who are you guys?
It talked!
It did talk.
What are you? You want to fight?
Don't yell at me like that.
The bear is cowering in fear.
Dream? What are you talking about? I've always lived here. It's real, see?
You live here?
Hmm.
If I was you guys, I'd hurry back to the other side. Someone's been throwing people in here. It's a big headache.
Huh? Throwing people in? What are you talking about?
I don't know who's doing it. I just want them to think before they go doing things like that.
Hey, what's your problem? What gives you the right to yell at us like that? What are you? Where are we? What the heck is going on here?
I already told you. Anyways, you should hurry back.
What it comes down to is, you want us to get out of here, right? Well, so do we.
That's why I'm saying I'll let you out.
What the Sigma?
Like I keep saying, we don't... Wait. What? What the hell?
Where did those TVs come from?
Okay, now go, get out of here. I'm a busy bear.
What's going on now? Whoa! Hey! What are you doing?
Stop pushing!
Hey, we did it.
Did we make it?
All right. I hope we get a save point soon because we are coming to the end of the stream here.
Attention shoppers. Our daily limited time sale. Why not try the delicious fresh produce Juness picked for you this morning as your side dish? For all ages are invited to take it.
Crap, it's...
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Now I remember where I saw that post. Look over there.
What's up?
It's that lady. Oh, no.
She's been all over something about her husband having an affair with that announcer.
Hey, is that weird rumor that I think about? Yeah, stop. No, I'm gonna wipe what happened today from...
All right.
Let's go.
We're going home together, chat. All right. Here we go. Ready for snackies? Oh, where's my ramen?
Hey, welcome home.
Feels sluggish.
But have you heard anything about a student named...
I want snackies.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be honest, we got a call. We've got people looking.
Mm-hmm. Let me get to the same point.
Word just keeps...
And now, more on the case. Not long ago, television announced up until now, but the police investigation has found that she had apparently been staying there alone.
Oh yes, the Amagi Inn. They're
Oh,
hot
no,
springs.
Jeff.
The managers, if that...
The rain has begun to... From now until morning, heavy visibility will be severely...
The news continues.
Is there wrong?
Give it some more.
We get no ramen, chat.
Are you sick? Nanako.
But we do get cold medicine.
You should get...
I can't believe that one goes ramen. Okay. Yay, we can save. Woo, 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 woo. All right, lovelies. Oh, you're right. I got to check on the girl, actually. How about you? Oh, no one to leave alone. All right, chat. I need to go. I have to go to singing lessons, singing lessons, singing lessons, sing, 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 sing. It's going to be great, hopefully. I will have a lovely time in chat. I'll be doing a cover this weekend, actually, with somebody. You'll never know who it is, though, because I'm never telling you. Chat, you'll never get to know. Anyways, if anybody I can read into. How many people are hanging out with us right now? Who all is here? La, 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 la. When I popped off, then you go gave me just a little bit of luck. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Okay, they're doing... Why do they always do collabs? I like raiding into people who are just, like, actually gonna hang out with y'all. And... I don't know if I have anybody to raid into. Chat, do you have anybody to raid into? Not raiding League of Legends. That's ASMR. Ivory, there we go. Perfect. Tell them I say hi and bye, that I have to run. I love you all so very, 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 very much. Wait. Okay. You all have a lovely, lovely time over there. Carnia. Do I read? Alright, go say hi. Bye, honeys. Be good. Mwah.